Right now, you're using one of these types of internet, but most people have no idea why some connections are 100 times faster than others, or why some areas still have terrible internet no matter what. Let's fix that in 4 minutes. Dial-up. Dial-up came out in the 1990s, and this was the very first internet that regular people could use at home. Before this, the internet only existed in universities and government buildings. Normal people had zero access to it, so dial-up was created, and it worked by connecting through your home phone line. But here's the weird part. Every time you went online, your phone line got completely blocked, so if someone tried to call you while you were browsing the internet, they couldn't get through at all, and the speed was painfully slow, only 56 kilobits per second. Just downloading one song took around 15 minutes, not a whole album, one song. On top of that, every time you connected, it made this loud, horrible noise, like a broken machine trying to start. So if someone was sleeping nearby, you couldn't even go online quietly. Since dial-up was too slow and too frustrating, people needed something better. And that's exactly why broadband was created. Broadband. Broadband came out in the early 2000s, and this is where home internet actually became usable. Unlike dial-up that blocked your phone line, broadband ran on its own separate connection. So now you could browse the internet and receive calls at the same time, which sounds basic today, but back then felt like magic, and the speed jump was massive. Basic broadband could reach 1 to 8 megabits per second. That's up to 140 times faster than dial-up. Cable broadband was even faster, up to 100 megabits per second. Suddenly, that 15-minute song download became a few seconds, but broadband still had one annoying problem. Your speed depended on how far you lived from the provider's equipment. The farther away you were, the slower your internet got. So people living in rural areas often had much worse speeds than people in cities, even on the same plan. This distance problem is exactly why fiber optic internet was created. Fiber optic. Fiber optic internet became widely available in the 2010s, and this is currently the fastest home internet you can get anywhere in the world. Instead of sending electrical signals through copper wires like broadband, fiber sends pulses of light through ultra-thin glass cables. And since light travels much faster than electricity, the speed difference is enormous. Fiber speeds can go from 100 megabits per second all the way up to 1 gigabit per second. Some providers even offer 10 gigabits per second for businesses. And unlike broadband, where distance weakened your signal, fiber gives you the same consistent speed no matter how far you are. Everyone on the same fiber plan gets the same quality connection. But here's the problem. Installing fiber cables underground is extremely expensive and takes years. So even today, millions of people in rural and remote areas still can't get fiber, no matter how much they're willing to pay for it. And this is exactly the problem that the next type of internet was built to solve. Starlink. Satellite internet has actually existed since the early 2000s, but old satellite internet was terrible. Speeds were slow and the latency was over 600 milliseconds, which means when you clicked something, you had to wait over half a second just for it to respond. It felt completely broken. But in 2020, Starlink changed everything. Instead of using one satellite sitting very high up in space, Starlink launched thousands of small satellites much closer to Earth. Right now, Starlink has over 6,000 satellites in orbit, more than all other satellites from all other companies combined. And because these satellites are closer, the signal doesn't travel as far. So latency dropped from 600 milliseconds all the way down to just 20 to 40 milliseconds. And speeds now reach 100 to 200 megabits per second, fast enough for video calls, streaming, and even online gaming. But the biggest advantage isn't speed, it's coverage. Since the satellites are in space, Starlink works in places where no cable can ever reach. Remote mountains, middle of the ocean, tiny villages, and even disaster zones where every ground tower gets destroyed. The only downside is cost. The equipment and monthly fee are more expensive than regular home broadband. So if you already have fiber available where you live, Starlink doesn't make sense. But if you're somewhere cables will never reach, Starlink is honestly a miracle. 5G home. And finally, 5G home internet. This is the newest option, and it works exactly like the 5G on your phone. But instead of using a SIM card, you get a small device at home that connects to the nearest 5G tower and gives your whole house wireless internet. No cables, no installation, just plug it in and it works. Speeds can reach 100 to 300 megabits per second, which is more than enough for streaming, gaming, and video calls. And since it uses existing 5G towers, it's already available in most cities right now. But just like 5G on your phone, if you live far from a tower or in a rural area, the signal gets weak and speeds drop significantly. So now you know, dial-up was the painful beginning. Broadband made internet usable. Fiber made it incredibly fast. Starlink brought it to places cables never could. And 5G home internet removed the need for cables completely. Next time someone complains about slow internet, you'll know exactly why. Check out the next video too. It's right there.